life
be good.
Yeah, life be good. Like,
all right, life is good. Life is good. Like my big man here says, life is good.
yeah.
So today we're gonna put a little twist on what we do. You know, usually we have discussions on trendy topics, but today we're going to talk about comments that were actually posted under the video we did. I forgot 2-3 weeks ago about Wode and then Maponga talking about the experiences. I mean, bad experiences in the Caribbean. I know a lot of people do not want to say Caribbean, but it is what it is, right? These countries that they have problems with were in the Caribbean. I know you want us to be specific about it. We can be, but we don't see the point in being specific. They had in the Caribbean. Number one, I think it was Antigua and Bermuda. When it comes to Wode, Maponga was Dominican Republic. And we confused it with Dominica at one point, and we did apologize for that. So we're gonna take time out, talk about the comments some of our viewers made and see how best we can respond to them. You ready to go?
Yeah, we go.
All right, so first one is from Vic Fermat, 4492. It's VICFERRMAT 4492. He said, the Caribbean is not a country. It is not one place. Don't worry, eventually you will learn. Whatever you do, read history. So he's trying to say we confused the Caribbean to be one country. Did we do that on this show?
Okay, let's admit we did it, right? Mm-hmm. But I'll ask you, most of these people, like the Caribbeans and the Americans, and when they talk about Africa is a huge place. We have so many countries. Mm-hmm. Something happens in a particular country, the first thing they go about is Africa.
Yeah.
So why is it bothered? Mm-hmm. If you know it is not from your country, and you know there's a country within the Caribbean that is more racist towards your own people, then state that one. You understand? Mm-hmm. Don't feel offended, because we Africans, for centuries, we've been tagged every single thing. When quote unquote a black person does something coming from a certain country in Africa, the first thing they say is Africa.
Yeah.
You understand? They tag us.
Africans.
We've lived with it, so he should live with it. I don't see any big deal about it.
All right.
Cool. For me, he says that we were kind of referring to the whole Caribbean as
one. Pretty much generalizing.
Yeah, well, we and he was saying we would learn. I mean, we don't need to learn. We already know it. I mean, we know what the Caribbean is a group of islands, right? And yes, some of the countries within that area might not be part of the Caribbean family, but everybody around the world still calls them Caribbean. I think if anyone out there doesn't want us to refer to certain countries as the Caribbean, then they should, I think it would be better or helpful if they state in which region those countries belong.
Thank you.
But to the broader world, everybody knows that those countries, and even when you look online, these countries are usually classified as Caribbean countries. So maybe, yes, there might be a Caribbean family, but it will be more helpful if you can tell us the country that you're saying is not in the Caribbean. Helpful if you tell us where it belongs to, then we can correct ourselves.
And before you go, you mentioned the country.
Yeah.
You mentioned the continent, right?
Right.
So if the Caribbean, we know the Caribbean is part of a certain continent, right? Then the first thing we will say, like they do to Africa, we do to the Europeans, we do to the Oceania region.
Right.
The first thing you go is from Oceania, where? Australia.
Right.
This, that. So we are, my brother, we are learned here.
And we mentioned specific countries anyway. We mentioned Caribbean just because we wanted to geolocate it.
Yeah.
But in terms of what we're discussing, we mentioned specific countries.
Yeah.
Maybe if we made mistakes with a specific country, then we accept that. But take it or leave it. We're talking about the region where it's located.
All right, good point to me. I mean, from my personal perspective, I think, to give like a broader, general understanding of a situation, right? It's always generalized. Like you have to generalize to give context to a concept. Because, example, if we want to talk about, say, really specifying, being super exact, then I think just the country is not enough. We might as well pick out the region, pick out the town,
the exact location,
pick out the postal code, right? Yeah. And then pick out the specific person or immigration officer who actually kind of like, gave them this kind of like, I don't know, unfortunate experience. That's what I'm saying. So if you're gonna be specific, then we might as well like go all the way down. Because if we just mention the country, right? I mean, other folks are gonna be like, hey, it's not everybody in this country who has this kind of attitude towards Africans or outsiders or whatever it may be. So if we want to be super specific, then we might as well just go all the way down to the very specific individual that attended to these guys. So I feel like it's not really a big deal when you say the Caribbean or whatever. We all understand that definitely it's not going to be every single person or every single entity in the country that has these kind of like unfortunate incidents going on. So let's keep moving. So next up we have another one from Rywilo, RYRIL 5078. He said, "Lads," which means guys or dudes, don't just jump on the bandwagon for views. Get the details correct. So you guys just talking like,
Is it we were reacting to
views, or you guys know what you're talking about?
We were reacting to. We didn't just out of the blue want to talk about these issues. We're reacting to people's real life experiences. So when you say we're jumping on the bandwagon just for views, this commenter, I believe, came to watch the video because they wanted something to watch. So that's what we're trying to do, satisfy the need of people who want to relax by watching some sort of a podcast or something. But what's important is we're reacting to two famous people's real life experiences. So when he says that we're just doing that for views, I don't get, and the facts he's saying we should get right, it would be more helpful if you indicate what we got wrong. Because if you say we got some facts wrong, what are the facts that we got wrong? You haven't mentioned them. So how do we know what we got wrong? So I think that when people make comments, it'll be helpful they educate in their comments and not just make any statement and sign out.
I do agree. Listen, first and foremost, this podcast or this discussion is for views, right? Secondly, most of the things we mentioned in there were experiences, like you said, about those people. Okay, maybe we might have gotten a certain, maybe like the country. We mentioned Dominica instead of Dominican Republic. Those things happen. Sometimes you have this thing in the brain.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't get his point, but hey, some people just want to type something. So we just did, and we move.
Yeah.
I like exactly what you said about if you think we did not get something, you might as well share your expertise or the details that you're referring to, because like you said, we are not like superhumans. We all watched the videos, we saw what happened, and then we reacted to it. Because even the actual guys, I mean, Wode and Maponga, they might probably have gotten something wrong, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a human thing, so I don't think it's a big deal if we get. Like I said, we misspoke on the countries, but we apologize for it. Whatever details he or she, I'm not really sure if it's a guy or girl referring to, we have no idea. Right, the video is on YouTube. You can go check it out for yourself. We reacted to it, thinking, like somebody mentioned, right? If there's a criteria and then somebody does not meet those criteria, of course, turn them down. But if you write a memo saying we did not allow you into our country because prior to your visa application there were a few migrants who were trying to enter the country illegally, that smells of, if it's not, I'm not going to say racism, but it's more about discrimination. Right? We're going to discriminate against you because a few other guys did something untoward towards our country. So, I don't know. I don't think we got any details wrong, but hey, we're not being defensive. We're saying what we think, like we say.
Yeah, he came and typed what he thinks.
Exactly. So we are Samuel Owusu. I'm sure this guy is a Ghanaian. Samuel Owusu 4755. He said, "You guys must understand that every country has its constitution." I have no idea what this has to do with constitution. I don't think any country we do a constitution that says you should discriminate.
We do agree every country has their constitution, which is true. That is what he wants to say. Thank you for informing us. But at the end of the day, we also agree that every country has their own immigration laws. We do agree on that one. But when we are supposed to call out when we feel your laws is too harsh on people, right? Like I said in the video, I will not go there, right? But if somebody is going there that looks like me, that person should not experience what our father or our brother experienced. It is wrong.
Yeah.
If you think somebody should not enter your country,
Make
just
it
find
clear.
make it clear so that we know. Okay, from here I'm not going to pass through your hood and go to my. I know how to move. But if you don't state it and I get there, and then you want to bully me, then that is wrong. You understand?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think in the case of Maponga, to the extent that he was asked to buy 4 tickets, which all went to waste.
Yeah.
If you know that you are not, if you say the person is missing something and for that reason the person can't continue their journey, why do you make them keep buying tickets when you know that the person has still not provided the document you want? So what is the point? So it just kind of seems like some kind of bullying. So yes, you can talk about every country has its own constitution, rules and all that, but it doesn't warrant you to put people in a very tight corner nonsensically,
Financially
because it
too.
wasn't necessary to ask him, make him spend all that money when you knew. So it's kind of like some kind of bullying.
Yeah.
Like we can do it, we have the power to do it, so you just keep buying the tickets and so
All right,
I mean,
since we reacted to the comment, my question would be, can this person just state what part of the Constitution says? You have to inform somebody that somebody else did something wrong, so we will not allow you to come into our country.
Exactly.
I don't think there's any part in any country's constitution that says that.
Right.
So I don't really get the whole part of the Constitution because it makes no sense.
otherwise no country would have tourists, right?
It makes no sense.
Because
Now,
tourists-
this guy, Woodsman, that's Wood, WOODSMAN 9922 said, you should see how we treat each other in the Caribbean, much less people coming from Africa. I'm trying to digest what that literally means, that you should see how we treat each other in the Caribbean, much less
I think
people coming
I get
from Africa.
what he's trying to say, and I think in the video, or I read somewhere, or in the comment section, somebody mentioned how we Africans treat each other. Like if you try to travel with
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, somebody mentioned that.
So
as well.
I'm not surprised, but that is why I said in my view, and I stand by it. You should love yourself so much to see your brother as your brother. You understand? And it's a thing within Africa and then the Caribbeans. You have to admit it. You have to accept it. Even if you go to the Asia, if you come to Asia, they also complain about treatment among Asian countries. These things are there. You have to accept it. If you accept it, then you look at ways that you can correct those anomalies or whatever. Like,
Right.
But if you always want to hide behind and say, "Oh, we are not like that," "Oh, that it doesn't happen in our country," then you are being a hypocrite.
Right.
So I do get where he's coming from. They don't treat each other so well. They don't. And he knows, he just wants to admit that what we were saying is true.
Yeah, I get that part too.
Yeah, I mean, like if you watch another video from another famous YouTuber, I Am Marwa, he also went to the Dominican Republic, and he had very bad experience, beaten at the hotel, his bags thrown out for doing nothing. And when he asked, when he understood what the problem was, they said, I'm not going to mention, but they said they thought he was from another country in that region,
yeah.
and they don't see eye to eye. So unless you prove that you are not from that particular country, they assume that you are from there, and then...
Let me say this, yeah? Let me add to what you just said. We all admit, like, if you go through history, like the guy said in the comment, we should learn. We've read a little bit about even the Dominican Republic and then Haiti, right? What the kind of fight or war they've had between them for years. We get that. And it happens, it's all over the world. Countries always fight each other. But it gets to a point you have to be diplomatic about certain actions. You understand? Okay, if you don't want this particular group of people to come to your country, state it or make it very difficult.
Yeah.
You understand? But don't leave your doors open. When people come in, you mistreat them, and then you hide behind, oh, I just don't get it. You understand? I don't get it. I feel we've come a long way as a world where some of these things needs to change.
Yeah.
You know?
My whole vibe is, I think a lot of people kind of like, they jumped the gun. I feel like they did not really get what the point was. The point was with Wode, right? The president, the prime minister wrote a memo, a letter back to this guy saying, because there were 100 migrants trying to get into our country illegally, a week prior to you applying for your visa, this is the reason we turned you down. So if you focus just on this part, this is what I want us to look at. But I feel like a lot of people are kind of like, generally Caribbean, it's not really a country.
The real issue they are not addressing.
That's what I'm saying. They're not really addressing. We cannot, and we're not saying the Caribbean is bad. We all know Jamaica. We know Dominican Republic. We know a lot of places. We know the Bahamas. We know a lot of places in there, right? So we're not talking in terms of the Caribbean being like a very bad place, but something happened, and it's very isolated, right? We have to kind of like, we don't need to blow the whole thing up and take it out of proportion. The Caribbean, blah blah blah. No, we're just talking about the statement the prime minister, the president made. It was in bad taste, and it was not something you would expect to come from somebody of his what you call it, public standing or whatever you might want to call it. All right, let's keep moving. Now we have Elizabeth Fairley 6460. Unfortunately, things don't always work the way you would want them to. Agreed.
Yeah.
Understand too that there are policies Caribbean countries follow that are not their own, just to avoid being blacklisted. So what she's trying, I don't know, Elizabeth, who is she? She's trying to say there are policies there that were not pretty much crafted by the Caribbeans themselves, the Caribbean islands themselves. So they also try to follow some policies that they probably might not be in alignment or agreement with, just so the powers that be.
I can understand where the angle she's coming from.
It will be hypocritical of us to sit here and pretend like the
we
country
don't have
we don't have the same. Very hypocritical. So I do agree with
Elizabeth,
with her, and that is why we just want a better world.
Yeah,
you understand? We can change stuff by agreeing and disagreeing. Because I have this mantra: these fingers are never the same. So yes, you might go to this country or this country and you experience, but it doesn't mean you cannot talk about it.
Yeah,
because if you do talk about it, maybe, just maybe, you will get the change that not even me, but my next generation will come and benefit. That is why we are talking about it.
Yeah.
You understand? Every country has flaws in their immigration laws and whatever. And the way they do treat people, especially people from our region or our continent, if I have to say. It's facts. Yes, within your continent, you also mistreat each other.
Yeah.
These are the things we all need to come out and talk. Because at the end of the day, we are all citizens of the earth.
Right.
All right, cool. So we have another one, Andrea.
Wait.
Well,
Andrea PD. He said, I'm not sure if it's a he or she, Andrea.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Each and every country in this world have their own immigration laws.
Yeah.
Please take that into consideration and stop bashing the Caribbean like that. You too. You sound ignorant. It's all about your African countries. You have to make it easy for your people to travel around the world, not us meaning the Caribbean people. Caribbean people have no problems traveling. Stop bashing us. And what you have to say about it?
We just read a comment a minute ago that said that most of the Caribbean countries from Elizabeth, that the countries are still being ruled by laws that were not made by them, and that's and maybe that's why they get a chance to travel, because he said they're afraid of being blacklisted if they change some of these laws. So if someone has made laws for you, then of course and you haven't touched those laws, then maybe it will be easier for you to travel.
Yeah.
We have tried to change some of those laws and makes it easier for us to travel. So I even dare to say that maybe we're even doing better because we dare to change some, not all, but some of the laws, and we're facing difficulty. But we prefer it that way. I'll prefer to run on my own laws than to follow someone else's laws just because I'll be given the chance to easily travel. I think some of the people who make such comments have never even been to Africa, maybe.
I don't think...
Not necessarily Africa. I don't even think they travel.
They're
not well exposed.
Because even within Africa, a lot of Africans travel out of the continent.
Yeah.
And even within the continent, although there are still visa restrictions, it's getting a lot easier. And even for so many years, we've had all these regional blocks. Like in West Africa, you can go to 15 other countries visa-free. SADC in Southern Africa. And even now, across regions, countries are opening their borders up. So I don't think this person also did his or her homework, because if you are following the news, then you know that it's not that difficult to travel within Africa now.
No.
And it's not that difficult to even travel out of Africa.
No, but I don't think, like you said, she did her research well, because we are talking about Africans that have traveled, or African that have traveled to the Dominican Republic. That has gone through harsh immigration rules. You understand? And that is what we are talking about. So already it debunks your comment. We travel. Our passport allows us to travel. But if I'm coming to your country where you allow me, your country accepts my application, I paid the fee, I got a visa, and I come to your country and you mistreat me, you are telling me I don't have the right to talk about it because my government don't give me the right to travel? What is she trying to say?
I don't the government hasn't...
I don't get it.
Our governments don't make it easier for... I don't know if they're talking about empowering us economically or what. So it's also not very...
No, but look
clear.
at it. The last time I mentioned, I said everything, like anybody coming from Africa, to any part of the world, we have the most expensive tickets, the most expensive visa fees. So what is she talking about? You can get your passport today. Our government gives us passports to apply for other countries, visas. Countries that has made they've opened their doors, said you can come to my country, you can apply for it. So what is she talking about?
Well, good point, May. Like I said, it's their opinion, so it's like I understand what you guys are saying, but my point, the little that I'm going to add is, you said even every country's got their own rules, right? And I don't even think this was a rule. This is my only problem. It's like when people try to avoid real, sincere arguments and debates, they just try hurling insults, right? You're ignorant. You gotta read the history. Like, I don't need to read anything.
Yeah. The
point is that it's online. It's super clear. Wode might have put a copy, a snapshot of the letter that he got from the... I don't want to mix it up, either prime minister or president, I'm not sure. He put on the video. You guys can just go check it out. I don't need to kind of like, put up the link and everything. Go check it out. So that is exactly what we're talking, and the same with Maponga, right? We talk about his experience at the hands of the Dominican Republic, their immigration. So this is what we're referring to. So when you say, oh, you guys are ignorant, right? It's all about you, African...
And that's the thing.
But the fact is in the pudding.
But that's what I'm saying. That we were not referring to African countries saying, "Oh, we're all nice, we're so perfect."
No.
We were talking a very particular incident that happened. So if you say Caribbean people have no problems traveling, we're not saying Caribbean people have problems traveling. That was not the topic.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to stay on point. That was not the topic. I mean, we're saying we were bashing you. How were we bashing you?
Keyboard warriors.
And I think when you even say that we are ignorant, I mean, I think people just jump onto this wagon that says that all Africans are ignorant. All Africans are
ignorant of what? This is what I'm trying to say. That at the end of the day, right? Like somebody said, every country's got their own constitution. It's very ignorant saying that there is right and there is wrong. If the president or prime minister had stated that per our constitution, right? Article number 1, blah, 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 says blah, 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 right? Then you're referring to a particular, law stipulated in your country's constitution. But it was nothing like, it was something that he just referred to, like an incident that happened a week ago. So maybe they were on alert and they were trying to stop these things, which I do get. But the point is, what does it have to do with that one individual?
Yeah, it means you didn't even take time to look at the person.
So that's what I'm saying. So you have to understand.
I'm not even sure he or she took time to listen to the.
But this is what I'm saying, that I do not really kind of like, get really personal.
We are not. And
because for me, it's more like you have to look at the situation, the scenario, exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Did not say you bashing us. The Caribbean is not one. Who doesn't know the Caribbean is not one country? I mean, what are we? We're not 2 years old. So for me, it sounds a bit, juvenile.
It's just being defensive and
yeah, exactly.
And
it's okay. Listen, opinions differ, so we take it and we move.
Exactly. So somebody also said, last one.
Yeah.
That answer was so dumb. I don't even know what answer he was referring to, but there is no answer. We were not trying to say this should have been the way the country could have handled the issue or whatnot. We were just saying it happened. The statement that was issued was appalling, coming from a prime minister or president. It was in bad taste. That's all. You could have come any reason saying, hey, we're on alert because there's been a lot of
he said
immigrant influx into our country. So maybe for now we're not issuing visas to maybe Ghanaians. So it has to be something very
reasonable,
professional, diplomatic.
But this comment is saying what?
The answer was so dumb. I don't know.
Maybe from the prime minister.
Possibly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So if you take that into context, what the prime minister is saying to it, that's what we're looking at. That is pretty much
and
it.
We don't want that kind of strong language. You have to, if you can critique it by giving a reason, like what we just said. Yeah. Like the president could have given a good reason.
Yeah.
But don't just say that was dumb. I mean, it's not. Yeah. But anyway,
let's wrap it up. So what I would say is that we love this actually when your feedback keeps us going, and then it's like if you guys want us to discuss anything on this show, drop it down in the comments. But most importantly, I do want to say we're not making it look like the African countries are all perfect. It's like
no.
They're open doors, no immigration laws, no restrictions. No, what we say, if something like that happens in Ghana, we're going to talk about it. Right? If a Chinese, an American, whoever wants to come into the country, they treat it unjustly, unfairly, we will talk about it. So it's not like we're just saying, oh, let our African brothers just walk through your immigration and just do whatever they want to do.
In our quest to try to explain from our side, from my point of view, it is my point of view. So you can agree and disagree with me, but make sure you come up with your point. You understand? In the comment section. Don't just come and just leave it.
Yeah, because some people just feel it touchy. They feel like I just got to say something.
Listen to the entire video. You might agree, disagree.
Comment
before we leave, there was one comment I remember that was to me directly saying, if I have the opportunity, I would rush to go to the Caribbean. You see, everybody has a dream, and everybody has their preferred destination in this world. There are certain places I want to see. The truth is, the first place I want to see in the Caribbean, so I want to visit in the Caribbean, is Jamaica. That is all.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, I wanted to go to Haiti for
now, this is going to generate a lot of hate, though. They're going to be, just go to Jamaica. We don't want you in the Dominican Republic.
I don't mind. It's okay. It's like a Dominican person saying,
people are just gonna
I want to go to Africa,
that.
but I want to go to Kenya.
Yeah.
I don't prefer going to Ghana. It's okay. It's also fine. We have our preferences.
It's not fine. Stop bashing us.
Nobody's bashing anybody.
For
me,
no.
I mentioned 2 countries. It doesn't mean I hate the rest.
No, I get it. I'm just pulling your legs.
Yeah, I know you're pulling my legs, but I just want the comment section to understand that we accept their comments. We are all learning. No matter how much you read and learn, you never know everything. So, you can prove our points wrong by saying, listen, we've been doing this for Africa, or we have this link with Africa, we are cool. There are so many evidences around. Just point to those evidences and then we move. You understand? Nobody is going to sit here and pretend like we are coming from heaven.
All right, guys. So, thank you for joining us today. We don't want to take too much time going on about this. Like I said, comment section, we loved it. We went through it together. We're like,
I enjoyed it. I think
of course, we enjoyed it. We loved that song. We kind of discussed a few of them. So, if you have any topics you want us to look at, drop it down. Give us a like, comment, subscribe. The goal is to what? have these kind of talks, these kind of arguments, this kind of debate. So at the end of the day, we can all move forward as what? A society, a generation, like, a people. Whether you like me or not, you don't like him, you don't like the Caribbean, whatever.
I'm cool.
What does that really, contribute to the growth of mankind? So we're all trying to just, get along. So yeah, we'll see you on the next episode.